Welcome to the Bet Big Talk Loud podcast for Friday, March 20th. I'm Chris Hodge. You see JR in the screen sitting in his hotel room in wonderful Las Vegas, Nevada. Everything going well. JR, have a good flight out there? Was it good? Was it nice? Was it bumpy? What was it?
Awesome. I slept the entire flight. You know I'm not coming to Vegas. 5-6 hour flight without going first class. Got the lay down bed on JetBlue. Got a nice meal on the way up and slept the entire flight, which is probably the only sleep I've gotten since I've gotten here. So
there you go. So listen, this question was going around the office before we get into the podcast. I know your wife is in the room with you, boy. She's going to get mad at me for asking you this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Here it is, all right? Because this question was going around because I don't understand it. So would you rather a guy come up to you and tell you you have an ugly wife, or a guy come up to you and be like, boy, your wife is so hot, I sure would like to bang her? What would you rather the guy say to you?
Well, I'd rather he say your wife is so hot I'd like to bang her, and then I'd bang him right in his head. So, I mean, I'd put a fucking knuckle sandwich right on his jaw. But I would feel really good that he told me how hot my wife is.
Correct.
So
I never understood.
I'll take that.
Right.
I'll take that. Look, I would have said everything went well until you said I'd like to bang her, and then I'd bang him. But outside of that, I think that would be very complimentary.
Right. Like a guy comes up to you, be like, man, your wife's a dog, bro. I don't want to hit that. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, that's worse than telling me you want to bang her.
I can't even hit him at that point.
Let's get to it. Yesterday was a crazy day.
My God.
Couple crazy games. Obviously, right now we're doing this podcast. It's about 1:30 Eastern time. As of this moment, Kentucky is struggling with Santa Clara. Texas Tech is at halftime with Akron, up a few points there. But yesterday, man, there were some games that you see in these teams that just cannot hold leads.
Unreal.
Louisville doesn't hold the lead. I know that line came down to 3.5, but it was mostly 4.5 throughout the whole day.
I gave it out at 4.5. We had 90% winners on that.
Yeah, and then North Carolina last night, man, what the hell? That's the second time North Carolina took a huge lead and flushed it away.
Can't imagine how Hubert Davis is going to have a job next year as head coach at UNC. That's number one. And, because they've really fallen off since Roy Jones left and, Roy Williams left and, he's taken over. I just feel like it's been a slow tick down every year, just a little and little further and further away. We could talk about injuries. We could talk about the NIL and all that nonsense, but UNC is supposed to be the powerhouse, man. They're supposed to be at the very top. And for them to not be able to hold on to a giant lead like that and to blow it, and I think they were held to 2 points or 5 points in overtime. It was awful. And we're not talking about that they were going against another great team. It's fucking Virginia Commonwealth that we're talking about here.
I mean, we were on them when they were minus 10.5 or minus 11, when they were up by, I think, 32 against Syracuse, and they screwed us there.
That's right.
Last night, you're up 19 against VCU.
That was 11.5 on that one.
Yeah, and that's when the guy on Syracuse, once they got under the number, he's like, nah, don't foul. That was great. Last night, VCU does a great job. They get a great comeback. The kid Williams played awesome off the bench. Good for him. Gonzaga, okay, they beat Kennesaw, but they just didn't look good doing it. I think the team that looked the best yesterday, and there's some people out there might disagree with this, but I think the team that looked best yesterday was Arkansas. Arkansas just jumped right out against Hawaii, great. Never looked back.
Not only they look great in the conference tournament, right? They took out all the competition. They had the last game of the year where we thought they were going to lay down. They only ran a 6-man rotation. Acuff didn't play. That was regular season. And he had said, getting ready for the SEC tournament, they still cover the last game of the year, go into the tournament, wipe out the competition, and look phenomenal in the first round. And I got to say, man, the first round never, ever lets us down with excitement. But yesterday was definitely, one for the ages.
Yeah, Arkansas looked great. Duke and Siena. Duke, life or death, man, with the 16 seed.
Unreal.
If they would have lost that game yesterday, I just don't know what you do. I really don't, because
biggest upset ever. Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah, I know that it was a 16 beat a 1 seed a couple times, but man, if Duke went down yesterday and they listen,
not Duke, right? I was gonna say not Duke.
Right.
I mean, and not for nothing, that Kennesaw team, they're a good team.
They played
They've been
well.
good all year.
They played well.
They
We used
really
them a
did.
couple times. We used them a couple
We
times.
did. That's the only reason I even know anything about them is because we did use them. And they look strong. They got a good inside game. And I mean, I don't think that they're going to go deep into the tournament, but I mean, I can't say that I was surprised it was more of a game than the public expect.
Yeah, and it seems every single year 12 beats a 5. It happened again yesterday. High Point knocks off Wisconsin. Every year 12 beats a 5. The mid-majors, hats off to them yesterday. We'll see how they do today. But St. Louis absolutely annihilates Georgia. VCU beat North Carolina. High Point goes and beats Wisconsin. Siena played a great game against Duke, even though they're not really considered a mid-major. But, the mid-majors really, really played well yesterday.
I agree. I mean, this is the tournament where, the coaches have something that they can really get into the players about. This is an exciting time of year where, I mean, let's face it, you get into the tournament of 64, anyone can win. I mean, High Point, you don't think that they're back at the hotel talking about how all they got to do is win a couple of more games and they're in the final 3+1? I mean, it's
it's a podcast. We're allowed to say it. That's only for radio where you can't
Final
say Sweet
Four,
16,
baby.
March Madness. None of the radio. FCC has this bullshit on lockdown.
And I got to say, my brother called High Point yesterday. I was like, High Point?
Yeah,
what do you know about High Point? He's like, I'm telling you, they can win this game outright. And man, did they ever.
Yeah, that was a good game. So now, obviously, I know it's March Madness, and I know everyone cares about basketball, as do we. But I gotta switch gears a little because I saw this story and I just cannot believe it. And it's like, you know what I always tell you, like the NBA does things to ruin their product and they can't get out of their own way. And I almost feel like the NFL wants to like copy that and just try to destroy their product, because I read a story the other day that the NFL doesn't have a deal with their officials right now. So they might go back to replacement officials for next year. They're trying to like locate who a replacement officials could be. And I'm sitting there like, I don't remember the year, but like they did this once and they have an iconic play called the Fail Mary. That's how bad the replacement officials were. Like, that should never be something you even consider doing. But here we are, the NFL, a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They can't figure out a deal with the referees.
Which makes no sense. They're not even full-timers. These are not guys that ref as a living. They've got jobs. These are lawyers. These are, very professional people that do this almost like a side gig. They don't make big money. They should make more money. You and I have talked about that. Like, how are referees not going to continued education? How are they not, becoming better refs? I don't care how long you've been doing it. I don't care how big your biceps are. I care about how much you know about the game of football. And this year and last year, I don't know about you, but I feel like there's been more missed calls since, call it the beginning of sports betting gone legal. I don't know if there's a correlation there, but there's been more bad calls. And it's not because our eyes are on it. We've been watching it for me, 31 years. I've never seen so many bad, awful calls. And we've talked about this. The technology is only getting better. So they should be getting better. The calls should be getting better. The officiating should be better. And it's just been tanking, literally like the roller coaster over to New York that just goes straight down.
I tell you, man, so if I'm in the NFL league office, first of all, we've railed about this since the beginning of this podcast back in September. First of all, the NFL overall has an officiating problem. We've said that numerous times. If you go to replacement officials, I really don't know, like, if I would be sitting there saying, okay, until the regular officials get back, who suck too, but they're not as bad as the replacements. Like, you really got to be careful about gambling on that sport. Because you know you're not going to get a fairly called game. They're that bad.
Yeah, and I don't want to say it. Obviously, we're doing a podcast, so I guess we could say what we want, but if you tell me that there's replacement officials going in and that there's a deal that's about to get done with the regular officials, I know something's going to happen. I don't know who's going to do it, but you can't tell me that one of these guys are not going to do something to make themselves a few more dollars than they're going to be making after their job as officiating is going to be gone. They got one chance.
Man. I mean, this is crazy. I can't believe the league has come to this. And like you said a couple minutes ago, You should be training these guys more during the week. These guys should not be part-time. They should be full-time employees throughout the week. When they get their assignment for a game, let's say on a Monday or a Tuesday, they should be flown in to practice with those teams, right? Like half the officials on one team, half the officials with the other. And now you know what they like to do. You know what their formations are. You know what you're looking for. And the team gets a feel for how you call it as well, because if you're a multi-billion-dollar industry that partnered with the sports books, you should get all of these calls to the best of your ability correct.
And you should try to make it as clear and transparent as possible so that there is no questioning. So we're not doing these podcasts talking about whether or not a game is being called the right way or not. So I think it's awful. And if it comes down to money, I mean, these NFL teams, I mean, you look at my Miami Dolphins and the amount of dead space that they're going to have the cap hit. I mean, why are we talking about this? These guys make peanuts. These officials literally make peanuts. Pay them. Give them what they need. Get them better education. Like you said, better travel effectiveness. Get them to the games early and let them sit down with the teams the week before. Find out concerns and literally talk about what they're looking for, what they're going to stop. I mean, you know, to hear about, even throughout the year, we heard about the tush push and all the teams saying how, you know, they're doing an illegal move, right? And
yes, it was
called
wrong.
Call it every time they can call it as you know, a false start. But
so I'm back and forth. I don't believe the tush push should be banned, but I've been back and forth on it.
Me neither.
Just because Philadelphia runs it better than everyone else and they have an advantage with it, that doesn't mean you should ban it. But what you have to do is you have to enforce it correctly, right?
Correct.
Like you can't let a guy jump off sides and not call it. You know, you have to, if you're going to have the play in the rule book, which is fine. If Philadelphia found a way to do it better than everyone else, by the way, this is a New Yorker saying that, right? We never stick up for Philadelphia, okay? This is a New Yorker saying it. I believe they do it better than everyone else, but it needs to be, you know, called correctly. I believe last year there was a fumble on the play with Jalen Hurts with the Giants that they screwed that call up, and then a bunch of guys jumping off sides in almost every single game. They screw that up, and now you're going to have.
I never even thought about it until they talked about it, and then they started showing it in slow motion, and there was movement, not by one, but almost the entirety of the offensive line before the ball was hiked.
Yeah.
That is a false start, plain and simple, and it's not hard for them to pick up on it. It's really not.
Yep.
It's because they're looking for something behind the line rather than in front of the line.
Yeah, and I just think the NFL needs to get this figured out. I mean, they need to make the quality of their officials better, not go get replacement guys who are going to be worse. I mean, you got so much gambling going on, but you know what's crazy about gambling is there is going to be more money. Now, I do know a little bit. This isn't apples to apples. This is apples to oranges because the Super Bowl is just one game. But there's going to be more money bet on March Madness during this tournament when you combine it, than money that was bet on the Super Bowl. And obviously we know the Super Bowl is the highest bet game of the year. But this tournament is that big, especially from a gambling perspective.
You know what? I may even go so far as to say that day one, okay, if you put all the money together on all the games on the college basketball tournament, has got to be more money than's bet individually on the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is one game. But I mean, the tournament, there's so much going on. I'm sitting here in Vegas. It's packed to the rim.
Sure.
These sports books are literally bleeding people. I mean, they're just falling out the seams. Everywhere you go, it doesn't matter whether you got the beautiful Aria where I'm at or, you know, the shithole that is Treasure Island. There's just people falling out of the sports book everywhere you go. And I mean, they're betting big money. I mean, and you know they're betting big money because the tables that are normally, you know, when you walk around the casino, you only see some $25 and $50 tables. Everything's 100, 200, 300. Yeah. People are betting huge. This is the weekend that they come in, and this is the week that, you know, the biggest bets are made, and without question, most people, the biggest fortunes are lost, which is good for Las Vegas. But you know, guys like us, we clean up and our clients actually make money.
Yeah, I'll tell you a quick funny story. You'll like this. So my football team is out there. We play out there, I think, Saturday, May 2nd, I want to say. First Saturday in May, whatever date that is, right? So, I call up, people I know out there and, a couple people from the MGM and like, hey, I need like 20 rooms for my guys. So my girl calls me back and she's like, Chris, how long you been in the gambling industry? I go, I don't know, 25 years. What the hell are you talking about? She goes, what's May 2nd? And I go, I don't know, Saturday? And she goes, no, you dumb fuck. It's Kentucky Derby weekend. How do you not know that?
Oh,
she's like, you better go call somewhere else.
Boy.
She goes, there's a big fight. I think Bienvenides is fighting out there. I'm like, you got the Kentucky Derby going on? I'm like, oh, man, I didn't know that. So just
you need 20 rooms. Good luck.
Yeah. That's yeah.
He looks like you might need to call Treasure Island.
Yeah, here comes the lawsuit, right? As soon as this podcast goes live, the lawyer from Treasure Island. Hey, can you stop saying that? Yeah, listen, there are obviously, look, it's Las Vegas, right? There's some hotels that are out there that are much nicer than others. We understand that.
No doubt.
And they are that nice because of idiots like me that go down to the craps table and just decide to give thousands away for no reason at all.
I can't imagine what you did the last time you were here. You said some guy held the dice for more than a half hour.
No, that was in AC. That was in AC, and I fucked that up. That was in Atlantic City when I was there.
I know. How do you not make the score of a lifetime?
An idiot, man. I'm telling you, and I hate admitting this. I was at that table, and that was a pretty good table. I was the person who made the least amount of money at that run. Everyone else was cleaning up, and I'm sitting there like I'm an idiot, which is what I am.
And you know better. You know press, but you weren't doing any pressing.
Nope.
You were just leaving it out there. You were that guy betting $25 on every hand trying to get the free buffet.
Well, it was a little bit more than $25, but so quick story about that run. When that run began, I was already down like $8,000. Right, so that run began, and there was a college basketball game that happened to be played that night that I really, really liked that I wanted to load up on, right? So I'm like, all right, let me not lose $20,000 at friggin' craps before I go bet this game tonight, right? Like, and so I just, every time we won, and this guy was hitting pass lines and numbers. So rather than just leaving the bets on the board, I was just taking the profit back. Everyone was pushing, and I'm the idiot. Like, I should write a book like Craps for Morons.
Zero press, right? You just kept the same unit out there the whole time. So what we talk about all the time on radio, you didn't click that maybe it applies to craps too.
Nah, man. And but I was happy, man. And it was so funny when that guy craps out finally. And I'm telling you, there's no exaggeration. This run was upwards of 28, 29 minutes, or about a half hour. Man, when this guy finally craps out, he apologized. He was like, oh, man, I'm so sorry. And the freaking pit boss said, get the hell out of here. Like, go away, man. Call him up.
That was like me apologizing to you on Wednesday for finally losing at hockey.
Oh, you're an idiot. You're an idiot, really. And this guy was on something like a 26-2-1 run. And he
31-2.
31-2, and this guy loses. When was it? On Wednesday night you lost?
Yeah.
And he calls me up. He's like, yeah, boss, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Still, man, I hate losing. I really do. I hate losing. It's the worst. I mean, I can't imagine anyone likes it, but people accept it. It's unacceptable to us, which is what makes us so good at what we do.
Agreed, man. It's losing is just something that it's just a different feeling, man. It's just I'm telling you, I was playing NHL with my son, my youngest son, who's 18. We're playing NHL on, I don't even know if it was PlayStation or Xbox. I don't even know what system it was. But we bet on the game. We literally bet, not a big game. We bet $20 on the game. And I won $20 on the game. We bet, me and my 18. And let me tell you, you want to hear a bad lesson in life, man? So I beat him. This motherfucker, not only does he not pay me, he talked his mother into telling me I don't deserve to get paid. And I'm like, what madness is this? Right.
Wait a minute. I have not heard this story.
This just happened a few days ago.
Listen, bad dad if you don't take his $20.
Terrible. Okay? Right.
Bad
Give me my money.
You have to take his money. Okay, that's a lesson well
100%.
learned. And your wife should be 100% on board because you don't want a welcher going around the rest of his life.
And I'll tell you, and I know my youngest son watches this podcast, the biggest welcher in the history of the Welch. Okay?
Come on!
The biggest, this guy when he loses, he never pays up. I've never seen anything like it. And then he gets away with it. So you know what I sent him? And everyone out there should be familiar with this because it's one of the funniest scenes of all time. Remember on Family Guy when Stewie became the bookie? and
Yes.
Brian bet the fight, and then he didn't pay Stewie, and then Stewie kicked the shit out of
Give
him
me
all
money,
over
man.
the house, set him on fire. I was sending that clip to my son. And he's like, Dad, you're really not going to set me on fire. I'm like, I don't know.
Right? Come on. You got money for fake mustaches, but you don't got my money.
But I was like, so I didn't get my 20, but I got the win. Right? And I'm like, all right. So
Wait, no, you have to go get that 20.
Agreed.
Man, you can't let that slide.
I agree. But, if my
This
wife...
isn't even up for debate. Hey, period.
My wife don't play fair, bro. My wife don't play fair. She's like, go get that money. She's like, don't even look at me tonight. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, are you kidding? I'm going to take money from your son and I'm out of action? Are you kidding me? What the hell is
What's
this?
going on here?
Right.
I won. Why am I losing?
Right. Oh, that's my baby. You shouldn't have took his money. You shouldn't have beat him. I'm like, well, no. I listen,
But
from a
what kind of
gambling family.
lesson is that?
Right. It's just,
Man.
man, these kids, bro, they're spoiled. These kids today, they don't know what
Your
it's like.
youngest does definitely own your wife. I can tell. Every time you tell stories, he owns her.
Bro, I grew up in a world, I was broke. My grandfather taught me how to play chess. And my grandfather was actually a great, great chess player. To this day, probably the best I've ever played. And I only beat him one time out of all of the games we played. But we used to play for money. This motherfucker took my money. He beat me, took my money. And I'm talking at the time, I'm talking $2. I'm a kid. I'm 10, 12 years old.
What?
But I go home crying, he beat me again. She's like, it's my money now. I'm taking it. And I never learned my lesson to this day. I keep betting.
Oh, you learned your lesson. You absolutely learned a lesson from that. You don't even realize it. That instilled the values in you that helped you grow up the way that you did. It really did.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've never played you in chess. I won't. I've only because I've heard how good you are. So I'm not going to give you a chance to be. You know how I am. If I think you could beat me, we ain't playing.
Yeah.
Which is why we make our bet in the NFL every year. If you'd like, by the way, do you want to start betting hockey together?
Well, listen, I am not going into a hockey competition with you. And you see, you're no better than my baby son. You're no better. You're ballless too, man. Yo, you won't bet me in college basketball, but NFL and NHL, you kick my ass. You want to bet on that?
But I didn't bet something. No, that's smart. It's not like I made a bet and didn't pay it, okay? That's a different story. I make bets that I know I can win. That's why I say I'm not a gambler.
Gotcha. We have Fred Davis coming on again from Dallas Sports Talk Radio. I had to have Fred on today because of just the NCAA tournament, number one, and he's a massive Kansas fan. And I know Kansas playing Cal Baptist tonight, so I want to talk to him about that. But, we're in New York, and, we do root for St. John's, and obviously he's a big Kansas fan, even though he does radio down in Dallas. If they both win their respective games in the first round, they play each other in the second round. So I want to make sure I had Fred on from the Fan After Dark on Dallas Sports Radio, who's the number one rated program down there at nighttime, so he'll come on in just a few minutes. I know you met a few customers out there. How's it going when you meet those guys? They pretty cool this year?
Man, it's awesome. I actually, there was one gentleman I met yesterday that had an awesome meeting with him. He's an ex-colonel. I won't get into his name or anything like that, but a 26-year Marine veteran colonel that does this for fun, has the money to play around, having a great time. He's out here without his wife, and he's like, JR, I got to tell you, man, this has been a blast. Like, he's just really enjoying it. We always talk about it. Like, don't play with money that you can't afford to play with. That
Absolutely.
Makes it miserable. If you lose a bet or two and you needed that money for something else, or your wife is going to rip into you for losing, then you shouldn't be betting games. But if you got a couple of bucks that you could play with and would have no effect on your life, and then all of a sudden it turns into something a little bit more significant, all of a sudden, you take 10 grand and you turn it into 50 or even 100,000 by the time we get to this time of year. Now you're having a blast. Now you bet $5, $10, and $15,000 on a college basketball game during the tournament in the casino in Las Vegas. I mean, it doesn't really get better than that, right? I mean, we had a client last year that came out here with just a couple, I say just a couple 100,000 because of the amount of money we made him. I could say that, but he went home with a profit of $640,000. That was just round 1 and 2, week 1 of the NCAA tournament. So, I mean, this is what we do. And you could see, we drive these lines down. As soon as I started giving out that South Florida game yesterday at 4.5, within an hour. Thank God we got most of our guys to get it in at 4.5. It got driven down to 3.5, and that takes a lot of money to do that during a tournament.
Absolutely. So, JR, I know you're busy out there. We got Fred Davis coming on in a few moments. I know you do a great job. You're better than me, man, because you're like, yo, I'm going to go out to Vegas. You want to come? I'm like, I'm not coming out there for the first week of March Madness because you'll never see me. That's 24, 48, 96 hours for me. I wouldn't even sleep. When I'm not watching college.
I have very little sleep since I got off.
When I'm not watching college basketball, be at the craps table. I'll come home.
I'm taking money at the blackjack table. Exactly.
Good for you, brother. Good for you. JR, man, thanks. Have a great time out there with your wife. And I can't wait to get you back in studio next week. We'll have a good time with you when you get back.
Absolutely appreciate it. As always, guys, be safe, have fun, and hey, let's go out there and make some money.
All right, keep it right here. Fan After Dark host Fred Davis joining us in just a moment. All right, back here on the Bet Big Talk Loud podcast, friend of the show. I think this is the third time you're now on, Mr. Fred Davis, Fan After Dark, #1 rated late night show or nighttime show down in Dallas.
That's it.
I never want to get in trouble, but bro, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming back on.
It's the madness, man. I'm geeked. I got to sit in on the afternoon show yesterday, the G-Bag Nation over there on on 105 through the Fan, and Dallas is a weird. Texas is look. You guys in NYC, East Coast, you guys love college basketball.
Yep.
It's a rite of passage over there. Texas has look, we get down for our college football here. College basketball, it's 6 to 1, half a dozen to another. But for those of us hoop heads that actually went to legit basketball schools,
sure.
This is our Christmas.
Absolutely. Now, I got to ask you a non-sports related question because this was going around my office the other day. Someone got offended. I couldn't believe why they got offended, right?
Real.
So, and I asked this to JR earlier on the podcast. So now, would you rather someone tell you that your wife or significant other is ugly, right? Would you rather say, well, you have an ugly wife, I would never want to touch her, or, man, bro, your wife is hot, I sure would like to bang her. Which one is worse?
Definitely. I mean, look, here's the thing, right? You as a person know both people feel either way, right? Like if you got an attractive wife or husband, whatever, you know that other people lust after them. What's that song? There's that old school song, find an ugly woman to become your wife. Look, you
I got you with this question, huh?
I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough.
Nah, bro, this is easy. I don't want anyone telling me my wife's ugly. I don't want that.
No, I mean, because you got to have some balls. You got to really have some balls to tell somebody that their wife is ugly. Like you really, really do.
Like, bro, who wants to touch that girl? She's a pig.
But I would be more offended by the fact that someone would have the gall to tell you, I want to sleep with your wife. Like I take more umbrage with, because now I can't trust you. At least if you tell me my wife is ugly, at least I know where you stand on things. Okay? If you tell me you want to bang my wife, now I really have to trust I don't trust your judgment.
I love it.
I don't know that I can trust your motivations and what have you. So yeah, I would take the wanting to sleep with my wife. I have more of a problem.
Okay. I love you, Fred.
Now your integrity's at stake, as far as I am concerned.
I love it. Let's get to it. When JR and I were doing the podcast a little earlier before you popped on, Kentucky was down to Santa Clara. They come back. The last 3 seconds of that game was phenomenal. Yeah. Santa Clara makes a 3. Away comes back, makes a half-court 3, and then Kentucky actually covers the game in overtime. This is the madness, man, and there are some really big games tonight. So let's get started with your boys. All right, they're a 14.5-point favorite over Cal Baptist. You and I shared text messages last week. Here we are. It's the NCAA tournament, and we still don't know what Kansas is, which is unbelievable to me. They're supposed to win this game tonight. They're supposed to win it easily. Are you confident?
No, they should. I mean, Cal Baptist is one of the worst offensive rated teams in all of the NCAA tournament, so I'm not too concerned about this. Look, if 3 things are going to change, dictate how far this KU team goes. And I mean, look, the obvious answer is Darren Peterson. I get that. But I think what's been lost in the Darren Peterson conversation is, he's played in the last 9 games since the whole Oklahoma State debacle, right? So, and if you look at what went down in the Big 12 tournament and the games they lost, it really wasn't because Darren Peterson, wasn't moving around the court. The problem was, A, he can't shoot to save his life. The entire team can't shoot to save their life. I mean, they scored 46 points against Houston. Houston's good defensively, but Houston's not that good defensively. They shot like 24%, something like that. They just have not shot the ball well. Their bigs have been non-existent, and they've just been dribbling the air out of the ball at the top of the key. Can the bigs actually, rebound? Can they get big defensively? Can they move the ball? That's the biggest thing for me. And the old adage, and I'm not saying anything really that profound here, just make shots. I mean, it's that simple. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just haven't made shots. And I know it's basketball, and let's not overthink things, but if those three things happen, play defense, bigs play big, and move the ball and make shots, this team's going to go places in this tournament.
So before we get to their potential second round matchup, because St. John's is supposed to beat Northern Iowa, they're both big favorites.
Northern Iowa's going to give them a game, though, man. I'm telling you right now, that's a team that's not scared of the moment.
Yeah, it's a 12-5. Let me just backtrack a little. Does North Carolina have a Hubert Davis problem?
Oh, I'd get rid of him yesterday.
Agreed. I agree with you.
I'd get rid of him yesterday.
That was so bad what they did in the last 15 minutes of that whole game, if you include overtime. They made 4 shots. North Carolina against VCU made 4 shots against VCU. That is insane.
You went away from you were killing them down low.
Right.
Your bigs were doing everything they wanted to do against them, and then you decided to become a jump shot team there towards the end. And, look, sometimes basketball is not that complicated. Sometimes when you have the size advantage, which they did. Now, look, if you lost in the second round, and yes, we can all complain about how they didn't have Caleb Wilson, but you should have won that game without Caleb Wilson. You were up 19 points. And look, I think, I don't know if you caught any of the post game with Hubert Davis, that alone should have been a fireable offense. All right. They asked him why he did what he did. Or why did you change up your offensive game plan? He goes, because that's what I decided to do. Oh, well, okay, Hubert. I guess that explains it.
There's something that drives me crazy about basketball coaches. You're inbounding the ball with they were up to with I guess 20 seconds left, whatever, however much time was left. You had a timeout, right? Why are you not taking the timeout when that 5-second count is coming up to it? But here we are. It's the middle of March. Right? I could give you, if you can't inbound the ball in November in a big spot, I'll give you that. But 5 months into this thing, when you absolutely need to get the ball in, you don't have something you could do to get the ball in. To me, that's on coaching. That play right there signifies coaching.
No, when you're ill prepared coming out of a timeout. But again, and look, it is the tournament. You are playing teams that you're not used to seeing, right? So, if this happens in the ACC, look, you're probably gonna have a good idea of what these teams are gonna do coming out of a timeout. I understand you don't watch a lot of VCU basketball if you're Hubert Davis and his staff, and no matter how much prep you do leading up to it, they're gonna have something up their sleeve. But like you said, if you've got a timeout in your hip pocket, that's the one thing you tell your guy inbounding the ball. Look, if it's getting to nut cutting time and we don't have anybody, boom, call a timeout. We regroup and we get it and we get the ball back in. So it's this time of year. And look, you and I are old enough to remember back in the day when Chris Webber called the timeout that they didn't have. I mean, and Chris Webber's an all-time great. I mean, hell, I thought he's done great doing color commentary. But these are big moments. And look, no matter how much money we're paying these kids, they're still kids to a large extent. And this is some of the most pressure-packed moments they're ever going to be in.
I agree with everything you just said. You should be able to get the ball in.
Should be able to get the ball in. I mean,
Trimble is missing free throws. Okay, guys go to the free throw line. They get a little shaky. They get a little jittery. Okay, right? You should be able to get the ball in.
Free throw on purpose.
Yeah, that was holy smokes. So we're doing this podcast again on Friday. So by the time it gets out there, it's going to be Friday night. We got Northern Iowa and St. John's, and if St. John's wins and Kansas wins, we got alma mater versus alma mater. So we have some fun with that. Let's get to tomorrow because there's some fascinating games tomorrow, man. There's some fascinating games, and I think with Duke really struggling yesterday, right? Because they for a long portion of that game, they looked like they were about to lose, right? Now, we've seen it work both ways, right? Now, is Duke going to struggle with the injuries, or are they just going to come out and say, enough of this, and they're going to pace TCU?
No, I think TCU is going to give them fits tomorrow. Do I think Duke wins the game? Absolutely, I do. I've watched TCU a handful of times this year. Look, Jamie Dixon, all right? I mean, this is what he does, right?
Yep.
I mean, and the thing about, and look, whether it's, I don't care, anytime you're in the postseason, yes, players make plays. We all understand that. But again, good coaching, you cannot, I mean, Jerry McNamara outcoached John Shire. Hell, he talked about it in his post-game press conference yesterday. And by the way, since you got a New York audience, if I'm Syracuse, I'm guessing you're getting just paperwork figured out, because why you don't have Jerry McNamara as your next head coach is beyond me.
Should already be done.
What's that?
Should already be done.
Look, if you're respecting the whole, hey, let him do his thing from the NCAA tournament, we don't want to cause a distraction. I respect that aspect of it. It's not like people are beating down Syracuse's door to go coach for them right now. But I mean, to me, that's a layup as far as going to get Jerry McNamara. He's a alum. He probably isn't going anywhere unless he leaves for the NBA, which that's the first world problem that you have to go. If that goes down to it. Plus, he's got a good relationship, obviously, with Melo, who they've kind of shafted here lately.
They did
in the grand scheme of things. But again, that's another story for another time. So again, I've got a handful of Q's friends out there. Go get Jerry McNamara, because I'll tell you what, if you don't, if Bill Self gets knocked out, hey, I'm knocking down Jerry McNamara's door yesterday as a Jayhawk. But anyway, look, Duke's going to win tomorrow. If Siena doesn't run out of gas, they probably do win that game yesterday. You could tell them legs were heavy at the end of the game.
They played five guys.
They played five guys.
No
first time
subs.
since 1979. You can't do that, especially against a team like against Duke. And sometimes, look, we've seen it over and over and over again, where when the Duke's kryptonite might be they don't have enough elder statesmen. That could be what ends up getting them. Now, you wonder if getting yesterday out of the way, getting the jitters out, still finding a way to win the game. They didn't knock down a lot of outside shots. Boozer did what he could. I'll be honest, I thought his brother was the best player for Duke yesterday.
He was, absolutely.
Okay?
It's a great point.
I thought Caden, who looks just like his dad, I thought he was the difference in why they won that basketball game yesterday. That and the fact they were just able to wear down Siena. But I think they find a way. Look, the only way TCU, and I'm not saying anything profound here. If TCU can knock down threes, because they're not a very prolific three-point shooting team, but if they can find a way to knock down threes like they did in the first half against Ohio State yesterday, I think they'll stick around. I don't think they win the game, though. I think Duke does enough to hold them off.
Yeah, and if you look at both of those teams, Duke comes from behind yesterday, but TCU was up big at the half. Ohio State goes on a great run, and then TCU withstands that, so they get a good win. I think that's going to be a good game. I think one of the more fascinating games tomorrow is actually
TCU can beat them, though. I just want to say this for the record. TCU can beat them. Look, they gave KU fits. They beat Texas Tech. They gave Arizona fits at times. So I'm telling you right now, TCU, I would not be surprised, say all that to say this, though, I would not be surprised if they found a way to beat Duke tomorrow, because they will not be overwhelmed by the moment.
I will be surprised if they win the game. I will not be surprised if they cover the game. They're getting double digits.
Take that! Oh, take that all day.
You love that.
Take that all day.
You're doing my job now, man. I love it.
I let you do that all day, every day. But if they're getting double digits, slam that. Give me TCU in the points all day.
That is, by the way, for all the customers out there, that is Fred Davis's free pick. That is not Chris Hodge's free pick.
No, that's my free pick. That's my free pick. Oh, I'm taking TCU and then some.
I love it. I think a fascinating matchup tomorrow is Texas and Gonzaga. Texas, man, they make the shot on Tuesday. They would stand unbelievable effort, individual effort, with a kid that's going to the NBA, and he's probably going to be a top 3 pick from BYU last night. And Gonzaga, you know what? They win the game. I talked about this earlier with JR. They won the game, but, Gonzaga just didn't look good last night. They didn't look good. And, now it wouldn't shock me if Texas knocked them off. It really wouldn't.
Look, you got another great head coaching matchup tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Sean Miller. I like
great.
I think he and for as bad as they looked against NC State down the stretch and still found a way to hold them off. I like the big, I don't know, was he Lithuanian, the big white dude that couldn't make a free throw to save his life. But I'll tell you what.
Get him out of the game.
Well, and Miller said, he goes, usually he's a 70% free throw shooter. He just struggled with the shots last night. Maybe he calms down tomorrow. This is where when you see these guys that, when you battled in the SEC all year, all year long, plus Texas has athletes. Sean Miller's been there before. I wouldn't I wouldn't be surprised at all if Texas wins that game tomorrow. I had BYU winning in the first round. I thought AJ DeBonsa, who did a great job yesterday, but the problem was, and
there was no one else.
Look, losing Richie Saunders,
yes,
killed him.
Yeah, that did. That hurt that team.
Just felt like after what I saw out of Texas in the first four, I thought, okay, AJ should be enough. I figured, all right, he could have a Carmelo-like run through the first two rounds and then get knocked out in the Sweet 16. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Longhorns find a way to win. I'll tell you my upset pick right now.
You just gave me one.
What's that?
Yeah, you just said TCU. You got another one?
No, I got them covered. All
right, I got it.
This is this is Fred's money line pick right now.
I love it. Let me go. What you got?
Billikens over the Wolverines tomorrow.
Yo, that's a ballsy pick, man. That's a ballsy pick. Really?
Take it to the bank.
Really?
Take it to the bank.
You're saying outright, huh?
Outright.
Yeah, I got to just throw. Georgia sucks, right? Like, Georgia was not a good basketball team. So
no, they're not great.
I know St. Louis took them apart, but man, Fred, that's Fred Davis again. Oh, the disclaimer here, Fred Davis.
No, because I tell you what, they move the ball and they're
not a bad basketball team.
Look, they're not a bad basketball team, and there's just something about teams that get up and down the court. And I don't know, Michigan's just I don't know. I mean, look, they played great. Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News, legendary college basketball writer, he said something that I thought was interesting, and that's kind of what, because I like St. Louis anyway, but after he pointed this out, since Michigan lost their backup point guard, they've had troubles. Okay,
they have.
And I just. Look, when you've got a team like St. Louis, again, this is where, and look, we're not going to see in the NIL and transfer portal era. I don't think we're going to see, oh hell, I'm trying to think of the teams from back. I mean, hell, VCU from back in the day. The Norfolk States from back in the day, where you would see a mid-major make a run. Because of NIL and transfer portal, I don't think you're going to see that as much. But St. Louis has a very old roster, and I mean that in the most complimentary way possible. I can see them getting up and down the court, wearing Michigan down, and like I said, now are they going to shoot the way they did last night against Georgia? Like you said, probably not. But live by the three, die by the three, and I don't think they're going to be overwhelmed by the moment. I like St. Louis.
So getting 12.5 too, by the way.
Again, take them points, baby.
Getting 12.5. A game that went my way yesterday, okay? And we were lucky to win this game, all right? And then the line did move a little, so if you bet it late, you actually lost it. But for the most part, people won this game. South Florida looked like they were getting run off the court yesterday. They made it interesting, didn't they? Plus 4.5 up until like a half hour before game time when the line did move to 3.5. So we were on South Florida yesterday. So they come back and they cover the game. I just think Louisville is going to have a lot of problems with Michigan State tomorrow.
I like Michigan State.
Yeah, I think, because, what is March, man? I know the guy only has one national title, but Michigan State gets better and better as the season goes along, and they're always a tough out in March. And it's hard to win. It's hard to win a national championship. Only one team does. Yeah. I think Louisville, because when they started to struggle with South Florida yesterday, now, this is South Florida. This is not Michigan State, right? When South Florida went to the press, and it looked like Louisville, without Mikal Brown, just did not know how to handle it. Like, didn't know what to do. And Izzo's watching that game tape, and he's like, okay, now I got something for y'all. I think Michigan State's going to be a problem for Louisville tomorrow.
No, I do too. And plus, they're just long and athletic. And again, I'll give the coaching edge to Tom Izzo. That East bracket's loaded. Whether, and of course UConn, I expect them to win tomorrow. I do have Michigan State getting past UConn in my bracket. Like I said, I just like the gauntlet that has been the Big Ten. I think when it's all said and done, look, in taking nothing away from the ACC. But I just think with the as brutal as the SEC, the Big Ten, and the Big 12 were, those teams are battle tested.
Yeah.
And the thing is that and again, Mike DeCourcy brought this up on the show the other night. If you don't have at least 1 to 2 NBA caliber players, specifically first rounders, on your roster, all right, you got problems, all right. And so I just think with the size that Michigan State has now, look, I think the Michigan State UConn game is going to be incredible, and of course, obviously, they both have to win to get to that point. But I just think that with what those teams are, tried and true, battle tested tournament teams, I like both of those teams to advance tomorrow.
Let me ask you a question, and this is something that hasn't been talked about because Duke was the #1 overall seed in the tournament. You just brought it up a couple seconds ago. When I looked at the brackets, to me, it looked like Duke had the hardest bracket.
Oh, hands down.
Right.
Hands
Not
down.
even close, right? Because Kansas and St. John's could be a pain in the ass. On the lower side of that bracket, like you just said, Michigan State, UConn going to – I mean, if you get let's say you just get Kansas beats St. John's, right? And Duke beats Kansas. And now you're either getting Izzo or Danny Hurley. You know, I mean, holy shit. Like, that is a very tough bracket. I really think they did Duke wrong being the #1 overall seed with that bracket.
Well, I think you could also make the argument. Florida probably got a equally hosed, right? Now I expect them to get through to the Elite Eight, but here's the problem: that regional is in Houston.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a road game.
Seed is U of H. I don't understand how that's. I mean, look, you can argue for as screwed over as Duke got. I mean, at least they're on the East Coast, and it's. I mean. We could all debate as to whether or not, who's the worst, who's the best of the worst #2 seeds in all of this. But, I mean, the fact that if I'm Florida and I've got to go to Houston to play, I mean, look, I lived there for 12 years. The one thing about U of H fans, and Houston, they will represent for the Cougars if they make it to the Elite Eight, which I fully expect them to. I've got U of H making it to the Final Four in my bracket. So, and I'll tell you what, Emmanuel Sharp, that team's tough. That team's tough. They're going to play good defense. That's the one thing you can always know about a Kelvin Sampson team. And the one thing I've noticed about Kelvin Sampson the last couple of years is he always had good defense, but they just didn't have the offense to score. This year, you got 3 perimeter guys in Uzan, in Sharp, and in Kingston Flemings who can give you 20 points on any given night. I like the Tugler kid. You got Mercy Miller coming off the bench. If they and look, if Sharp would have been able to, and again, he's the key because they probably beat Arizona in the Big 12 championship game if he wasn't clanging and banging that night. So I like U of H, and it's unfair if I'm a Florida fan, the defending national champion, I got to go to Houston to play them in the regional final.
So we could just gloss over the Texas A&M Houston game because we understand if you just go with Houston, we figure Houston's going to beat them.
Absolutely.
Houston, I believe, is 9.5-point favorite in that game. I'll tell you what, when they're sitting in the room making this shit up with the brackets, you get Florida, Houston. It's kind of compelling because it's a rematch of last year's national title game, which was a great game. So you say, all right, let's put the #1 seed basically on the road, right? Yeah. Which I don't believe is fair, and you just said that as well. But a regional final, a regional championship, man, Florida, Houston, that's a damn good game. If you get, let's say you got Duke, Michigan State, or even Duke, UConn, and then you got Florida, Houston.
Yeah, I've got Kansas, Michigan State in mind.
Oh, here we go, man. You can't, like the producer in the background. You can't,
either
man.
Way.
Here we go. The homer.
A couple of legends, just a couple of legends in the eastern region. No big deal. No big. Look, I'm telling you right now, Darren Peterson. I'm telling you right now. Darren Peterson is going to have a Carmelo Anthony-like run through the tournament.
Oh, do I need to put the text? Now. Can I get the text on the thing about 3 weeks ago when he's killing Darren Peterson? I was. I love it.
Look, it's an emotional game, man. It's an emotional game. All right. But at the end of the day, look, I'm loyal to my guys, as I've said on the air numerous times. Look, how much I get hammered. This tells you how. This is how un-college basketball-ish we are in the DFW sometimes. Where anytime I bring up KU, and I try not to do it very often, but, look, they're on TV all the damn time. They got the #1 possible pick in the draft. So, the Mavericks are awful. So, I mean, he could potentially be a Maverick next year. So it makes sense in my world. And look, are there nights where he hasn't looked great? Yes. He trains with Damian Lillard's personal trainer. He said he's as good a kid as he's ever seen. So he said, look, it's not about whether this kid wants to play basketball. It's just this kid had full body cramps. How does that happen? I don't know. All right. He didn't know. But they said he's as healthy as he's been since he got to Kansas. All right. So I'm just telling you right now, let's not forget this kid wasn't. He's given DeBonsta the business time and time again. It's been there.
Oh boy! All right, I'm gonna give you that homer pick. That's fine. I love you, Fred. You know
to.
I do. You know, you and I
to.
for the last 6 weeks or so, and the first time you came on this podcast, we were discussing it. We said Arkansas was going to be a problem. We both said that.
They really will.
They're going to be a hard. They're going to be a hard out. Like, and Calipari's a great coach. I think they did them bad sending them up to Portland, by the way. But you know they get a tough game tomorrow, man. I think they win the game. I don't think High Point's pulling this shit off again, and I didn't think Wisconsin was very good. But right now you got Acuff and this kid, man. Is he the number one? Is he the number one NBA draft pick right now in your mind? Like, you don't think so?
Is he great offensively? Sure, I give him that all day, every day. I just defensively, he raises some questions. He doesn't even try on defense. I mean, look, I'll take DeBonsta over him.
All right, so I want you to.
DeBonsta's a freak, dude.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want you to tell me if I'm crazy. And I have no problem if you tell me that. All right. He reminds me. I don't know if I'm crazy. I don't know if I'm going to catch it right now. He reminds me of Derrick Rose. Am I crazy?
Oh, man. A little bit. I mean, I could see that, but I tell you what, man. I mean, Derrick Rose was...
He just reminds me of him. He just reminds me of him.
Okay, I would say he's a poor man's Derrick Rose.
Okay, fair enough.
Because look, Derrick Rose, like, we forget, dude, before those knee injuries...
Unbelievable. Would have been one of the best all time.
You couldn't stop Derrick Rose. I don't think that. I'm not ready to put him in that conversation. I mean, Derrick Rose could get a bucket anytime he wanted. You know, and not to say Darius Acuff can. I mean, he's been incredible, and maybe we've just kind of watered it down a little bit because there is so much hype at the top around DeBonsta and Boozer and Peterson. But no, I don't hate that assessment.
Okay.
And dare I say, for as athletic as he is, he's not as athletic as Derrick Rose.
When I watch him play, and obviously they both play for the same college head coach, right? Because Derrick Rose played for Calipari. I just think, man, when I watch him, he just reminds me of him. I don't know. Again, I don't know if that sounds crazy. I don't know if the people listening to this podcast, Chris doesn't know anything about college hoops. He just reminds me of him. And it's nice to see the way he's playing. It really is.
No, Mavs fans here in Dallas are salivating over the possibility of bringing him in if he falls. Because, look, I've said this on the show. The NBA will not let the Mavs fall below that 4 spot. They'll get in the lottery.
The ring is in
they're going to 100%. Look,
love it.
No, because you can't. There's no way in hell they're going to let the great white hype, Cooper Flag, go without having a running mate for the next decade. They're just not going to do that.
Well, okay, so a little off topic. What's going on with Kyrie? Like, he's supposed to be back next year, right? Like,
he'll be back next year, but I mean, dude, he's going to be 34.
Yeah, that's not really terrible. He's got three good years, right? I don't know how the injuries catch up with him, but...
Yeah, but, I mean, look, you're not... I mean, that's not your building block. All right. I mean, and here's the thing. You might trade him after a year. You might move off of Kyrie. I mean, if you got a Darius Acuff and let him, have him split ball handling duties with Kyrie for a year, and maybe you keep him for another year. I think they signed him to a 3-year, $120 million deal, or 40, whatever it was, when they signed him last year. But no. I mean, look, you're keeping Kyrie. Kyrie's not going anywhere, but you're not. Look, they're going to get the Spurs treatment. Okay, they're going to get the San Antonio Spurs treatment. All right, especially with the way Luke is playing right now. When he was struggling a little bit, and I say struggling in parentheses because let's call it what it is. I mean, this guy's just been a monster the last 8 or 9 games. Ever since the baby mama drama came out, that his wife took his girlfriend, fiance, whatever the hell she was, cut off the engagement, took the kids back to Slovenia. I mean, look, it's one thing to have your baby mama run off your kids to another house or state.
Distractions are gone.
Country. Okay, so I mean, this is the Luka Doncic baby daddy revenge tour, and I'm here for it. But
I don't take the Lakers seriously. I really don't, because
no, you have to.
Really. So here's why I don't take them seriously, because I think San Antonio in the second round walks them like 5 games. Like, gentlemen.
It won't be that, because look, Luke is actually in shape right now.
Do we have a steak dinner bet on this? They play in the second round. I am going to tell you the Spurs A stake bet. Spurs
Done.
take them out in 5.
Done.
Less than
Done.
5.
I'll take done. 20-ounce ribeye, medium rare, please. Mac and
love it.
cheese on the side. Iced tea to drink. No, I'm telling you right now, Luke
Give
is
me the whole order.
I'll give you the whole order. I'll give you the whole, and I'll eat all the bread too. No, Luke is playing out of his mind right now, and LeBron. See, LeBron's the key in all this. Okay, like, yeah, I get it. He's 42 years old. He's on God knows what. But if you get the kind of LeBron performance that you got last night, and let's be real, I mean, the Heat aren't anywhere in the same zip code as the San Antonio Spurs. And who's going to guard Wemby? I mean, it's not like it's going to be DeAndre Ayton, for God's sakes. But, you outside of that, the Lakers match up. And oh, by the way, who's stopping Luka on San Antonio?
No. So that's the thing, right? Luka is going to get his points. Like, I've said that forever. You've said that Luka's going to get his points, right? I just, team-wise, I just don't think they're a better basketball team. I just don't.
I think collectively, I don't disagree with you. I think collectively the Spurs are a better team, but you don't have to. But, in a 7-game series, better team doesn't always win.
And by the way, I'm not a LeBron guy. You aren't either. You are a Michael Jordan guy.
I'm a LeBron. I respect LeBron. I do too. I will never.
But he's like the king of the flop. Like, we've always said that. But I don't put this on LeBron. LeBron's 42. This is on Luka and Austin Reeves, and LeBron is the third guy. And if he and by the way, that might be the best third guy ever. Right?
And see, that's that's my point is, oh, by the way, look, LeBron can still give you 30.
Yep.
Now, you can't rely on it, nor should you, but he's still capable of it. And oh, by the way, if there's a 7-game series between the Spurs and the Lakers, is there a more who's better experience-wise and who's better battle tested for that moment than LeBron James?
Agree.
Nobody.
I agree.
Nobody.
With those three are on the court together in terms of needing defensive stops, and you need defensive stops in the playoffs.
You will have some issues there, but I think that if the way this team's playing right now, and again, I go back to the way LeBron's played over the last. Look, LeBron has quietly accepted his role. Might be able to go win one more title with these guys.
Yeah.
If I play third fiddle, and to your point, might be the best third fiddle in NBA history, and just fill in the gaps and fill in the spots, preserve my energy, and all of a sudden, LeBron's over there, dunking on dudes like we saw from 10 years ago. And oh, by the way, I don't have to do the heavy lifting, and I got a LeBron that's actually got legs still in the fourth quarter, dude.
Yeah,
and by the way, Luke is actually in shape and not huffing and puffing, and finally put bitching to the refs every play.
Well, yeah, we talked about that the last time. And let's say you get by San Antonio, which I don't think you're going to, but let's say you do. OKC's waiting for you, and I think OKC's the better basketball team. I think the two best basketball teams.
Luke has got OKC's number.
Really?
Luka is an OKC killer, 100%.
We got
100%.
We got something to talk about now.
100%. I'm telling you right now, if the Lakers get past the Spurs in the second round of the playoffs, they will win the whole thing.
Really?
100%.
Again,
I'm telling you, Luke is on a mission.
Now this is the third. This is the third time. This Fred Davis. The Fan After Dark Sports Radio.
Right.
Go check them out, Dallas Sports Radio.
That's right. Look, I throw out predictions like they're going out of style, man. But I put a little bit of some semblance, not a lot, of logic behind them. Maybe not the best logic in the world, but it works.
Sounds good to me. Your logic always sounds good to me, brother.
If you say it confidently enough, someone will believe it.
So, all right, now take Kansas out of the equation, which I know is very hard for you to do. Okay. Because you are a Kansas guy.
But,
right. Give me a dark horse.
I did 2 brackets, by the way.
All right, so give me a dark horse. Don't give we all said Duke and Arizona and Michigan 1 seeds. Okay.
No, Arizona. Look, Arizona is going to win the whole thing.
You think so?
Oh, look, I mean, unless something just look. Even in the games they've lost, okay, they lost to who they lose to. I want to say they lost to Texas Tech. They lost to KU. Those were all games they led in up until the very end of the game.
At KU, they run into it. They had that situation where that team never loses a Monday night game at home.
Well, no, that's my point, okay, is that you had these extreme circumstances surrounding. And, oh, by the way, they were in or led in both of those games, okay? So it's not like they just got wiped. Even on nights when Arizona didn't play its best basketball, they still won or should have won, all right? So when you look at what's kind of the recipe for how you got to win in March, right? You need NBA first rounders. Okay, boom. Arizona's got 3 of those. Okay, Koa Pete's going to be a lottery pick.
Yep.
All right, the Barry's kid could be a lottery pick.
Mm-hmm.
The Bradford kid who won the Big 12 Player of the Year and isn't even the best player on his own team.
And nobody even talks about it. Nobody even talks about it.
Okay. Then you always need some random white dude who can shoot threes. Okay. Boom. They got that guy. Okay.
That's what I'm drinking.
Okay. They got some Lithuanian kid or some European kid that nobody can pronounce his name. All right. He should be a hockey player somewhere. He's 7'2". He's over here shooting layups, or not layups, but shooting jump shots and hook shots and what have you. They go 7 deep, and they've got a tournament tested coach in Tommy Lloyd. So, who's been there and done that 20 years as a he's kind of you know what he is to me a little bit? He's kind of a poor man's Roy Williams. In the sense that he spent 20 years as Mark Few's head assistant before he went and did his own thing over at Arizona.
Yep.
Right? We forget that Roy was 20 years with Dean Smith and then, took off and ran with KU before he went to North Carolina. Tommy Lloyd kind of fits that same, and they're both just A-plus recruiters. So, you got 7 deep. You ran through the gauntlet of the Big 12. You never missed a beat doing it. You go 7 deep. You got there's not a team in basketball, and Duke's included, that can match up with it. I mean, Duke maybe a little bit, but
they got to be healthy.
As the depth and the front size that Arizona has, good luck slowing that down.
You don't think
Arizona wins the whole thing,
and that's fine. You think Arkansas could give them a little bit of a problem? Would they be in the Sweet 16? Those 2 teams?
Yes, they would be.
They would be in the Sweet 16, right?
They would be. I don't have no, and I will tell you why. They don't have the depth of the.
Yeah, they got the injuries, Knox, and all those guys, man. I'm going to give
Brazil,
you.
And I'm telling you right now, Brazil's going to get eaten alive.
He had a bad. He couldn't shoot the ball for hell last night, but I mean, he really didn't need to. They had 5.
They just come at you in waves, man. That's the thing. And look, Brazil's probably what 6'10", 6'9", 6'10", 220. I mean, you got the Koa Pete, who's probably 18, 19 years old. This kid's like 6'9", 240. Yeah. I mean, he's got a grown man's body right now. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You got 3 or 4 dudes, bigs, that are grown-ass men who have NBA bodies today that you got to contend with. And then, like I said, you got the 3 or 4 guards. I'm telling you, Arizona's just got too much. They just got too much firepower.
So,
and they play good defense too.
They do.
There's 4 teams, right? So if you look, I did a thing yesterday. God bless AI. I did a thing yesterday. I said, look, give me the 14. Give me the one characteristic of teams that have won the title in the last 10 years. All right. And the number one is that in with the Ken Palm, and you can do what you want with the Ken Palm. At the very least, it's just good it's just a good statistic to have in the hip hop, right? But in the last 10 years, if you're going to win a title, you got to be in the top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency for Ken Palm. Okay, there's only 4 teams in the tournament this year that have that characteristic.
Sure.
Arizona, Duke, Florida, and U of H.
So you have 3 of the top. You have 3 number 1 seeds there. You have U of H, who's a number 2.
Who's number 2?
So for look, it's easy to come on like my business. It's easy to come on and say, hey, Duke or Arizona, and people don't really pay for that because they could do that on their own. You're really looking for like some value.
A value pick.
Yeah, and I think Arkansas, even though they got to run into Arizona, I think they're a good value pick. I've said it for a little while now. I think Illinois could become a problem.
I agree.
I agree. They shoot the 3. They got length. They're not a bad defensive team. They went through the gauntlet of the Big Ten. I think they could create a problem.
But they're gonna have to do that road game thing, though.
Yeah.
They got to do the road game thing when they go meet U of H.
Yeah. I mean, they really did U of H well, putting them in Sweet 16.
They sure did.
Really did that well, bro.
They did. They want Kelvin Sampson to win a title. They really, really do.
And you know something? He deserves a title.
No, he absolutely does.
He's a hell of a head coach, man.
If you could have made some shots last year, you would have won it.
Well, in fairness to that, too, everyone forgets. I believe they were down 6 to Duke with like a minute left. Everyone forgets that in the national semifinal. They were down with like a minute left and had a fantastic comeback. I do think, and I said this when I was on with John Schaefer, who's, a radio host in San Diego. I said there's 10 teams that if they won this thing, it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me at all. If there's 10 teams, it wouldn't shock me if they won. Like if Michigan State won, would it shock you? Would you be like, holy shit, Michigan State?
A little bit.
Really?
It would a little bit, because I just don't know. I mean, look, we know they play great defense, but I don't know. I mean, they got 3 guys that average double digits, but I just don't know outside of, Fears. I don't know that you got a guy that could just go get his own bucket, right? Same thing, like Iowa State and Michigan State are kind of the same team to me.
They are.
Right? Now,
they are.
You got the Jefferson kid. Now you do have the Jefferson kid for Iowa State that, like I said, that could make they could make big buckets. You got the Keaton Wagner kid for Illinois that can make big buckets. But again, the one thing is that, all right, who can be that second or third dude that comes out of nowhere, because that's what wins you championships, right? Is that when you're big dog, like, okay, AJ DeBonsta, great, goes off for 36 last night, got no help outside of him. Okay, you have to have that second or third dude that's going to come out of nowhere, knock down threes. Hell, the guy, the game I was watching, was it Wright State and Virginia?
Yep.
This dude's never hit threes before in his life. He hits 3 in the first half. Okay, I mean but that's the kind of shit that has to happen if you're gonna win and pull off an upset. So I can see Iowa State making a run. I can see them. Like I said, I've got them making the Final Four, because, like I said, I've got Michigan losing in the second round of St. Louis on Saturday. So. We'll see.
But even still, like, if Michigan goes and wins it, you're not surprised, right? Even though you have an upset, you got to pick some upsets in this thing. In the other bracket, Florida or U of H, if one of them win the national title, you're not surprised.
No.
I'm not surprised at all if UConn wins, even though they just got pasted by St. John's. But if they go on a run and win 6 straight games, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Right. No. So, that's just, we just went off. And then obviously you got Duke in that bracket as well. So that's 4 teams right there. You go over to the other side, you got Arizona. Obviously you think they're going to win it. So I think Arkansas is going to be a tough out. It wouldn't shock me if they like that kid pulled off like a Kemba Walker type run. It wouldn't shock me.
That I could see.
Right.
That I could see. Their front court worries me a little bit. But again, hey man, all it takes is one hot night.
That's it. All right, Fred Davis. I know you got your show.
You got to mention Kansas in there as well.
Oh, here we go, man. We just had to throw the Kansas thing in.
You got to throw that in there for the betting fans at home.
Oh man, if Kansas happens, if they both play, and again we expect them to, I just don't. I might turn my phone off if.
I was gonna say, go to your burner phone. Go to your burner phone, because you don't want to hear from me. You don't want to hear from me.
Go check out Fred Davis, the Fan After Dark, Dallas Sports Radio, man, the number one rated nighttime show, right? I got to make sure I said that. There you go. Fred, thank you so much for coming on. And I'll tell you how good my relationship is with this man. You did me a favor today. We had an MMA fighter lined up, ready to go. Again, we had a scheduling conflict, man. I called you up a couple hours ago. I said, yo, Fred, you want to jump on? No problem. And if you ever need me to do that, bro, I'm one phone call away. I'll pop right on for you.
Enough said, big dog. Hey, we got to talk some baseball pretty soon, too. We got to talk some baseball.
The Yankees, bro. Come on. You got the Kansas.
Hey, take that. I think the Rangers are at 83.5. Hammer the over. Hammer the over.
Another homer pick. Here we go. Fred Davis, man, thank you so much for popping on.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. All right, that's going to wrap up this edition of the Bet Big Talk Loud podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. We had JR live from Las Vegas. Fred Davis from Dallas Sports Radio jumps on as well. I gave you some nice underdog picks there. JR wanted to give out a free pick, forgot to do it. It's the over in the Carolina game tonight in the NHL. The interview we just did with Fred Davis was sponsored by girls.gamble.live and takingvegas.com. You can go check out girls.gamble.live. They got a great NCAA tournament deal going off, and takingvegas.com has 10 great handicappers there that are doing an awesome job as well. So go check out girls.gamble.live and takingvegas.com. For Chris Hodge, JR, Fred Davis, thanks so much for listening and watching the Bet Big Talk Loud podcast. Everyone, have a great weekend, and we'll catch you back next week.